You know, I'll tell you something amazing about this film which I have not told you and not told you and not told you. You know, first time I noticed the shots when we put out the trailer on Instagram.
Why has filmmaking become so expensive in Hindi cinema?
You know that when we were making Black Friday, it was not supposed to be a film, it was supposed to be a series, right? So when we did, that's why it was written like a series. It was supposed to be the first series for Aaj Tak.
You need another trustworthy person to...
I mean, I was still actively showing it to people or, trying to get as many people to see it, which was, you anyway want that for your film. So that's sort of what was going on.
Hello, this is Shilajit, Mitra from The Hindu. And I have with me the entire board of directors of the Mami Film Festival. And they're going to tell me if the festival is happening this year or not.
Best opening
No, I'm serious. Are we getting a Mami this year?
Yeah, that's a question I also want to ask, but I don't know who to ask. You have to ask Shivendra Singh Dungarpur.
Yeah.
We have to ask.
Ex-Mami board. Lots of us.
But on a serious note, Karan, your film Stolen had a long journey. I know you struggled to get it into theatres, and only after you had all of these people come on board as executive producers, and the word got spreading, and that's how the film is releasing. Take me through the journey of what was the struggle to sort of get this film out there.
Well, while this was going on, there was also the film had its own life of traveling to festivals around the world. So during that period, it went to about 30-40 festivals. So I was definitely more focused on that and enjoying that ride. But we wanted
That's
it to...
a good ride.
Yeah, it was a great ride. Yeah, not unexpected also. No, I didn't know at all that was going to happen. And so that was great. Honestly. And other than that, we were just... we had to kind of get this film across to the right person who would see the merit in it, and that's how. When the four of them came, that happened. It just went to the right person who saw the merit in the film, and for whatever reasons that it wasn't happening before, I don't know. Anyway, there's enough of a challenge for films to get seen and to get their little place. So it was what it was, and I don't know. I wasn't really I was not actively trying to sell it like Gaurav was. So I was maybe one step removed from it. I was still actively showing it to people or, trying to get as many people to see it, which was, you anyway want that for your film. So that's sort of what was going on in practical life, And then you get busy with other things also. So it was not like I was daily oh my God, my film's not selling. That was not the case at all.
Gaurav, would it have been easier, let's say in an earlier time, let's say, 2014, 15, that era? Do you think it would have been any easier? Because I remember that was the time.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a breeze then.
Yeah,
14, 15, the film would have released.
Yeah,
much
that's the NH
stronger.
10 year, and so many. I saw Titli in theatres. All of these films, it was not very difficult to get them out.
Angry Indian, my other film, Angry Indian Goddess, we sold in Toronto in 9 days, the entire world, in 9 days. So it was a different world, different era, pre-streaming as it is now. But I think that's not what you said about the film is we were a little stubborn with our vision with the film. So it wasn't like the film was not selling and not happening. We were not even to get the deal that we want, which would take the film to the globe, So it was selling in parts, and because of piracy, you sell one part to one territory, and then 2 weeks later it's pirated and it's gone. And so if your primary market is sold, then you can sort of cut it up and sell it to many places. But until your primary market is sold, selling it in
it has happened 2-3 times. America, my film Ugly.
It gets pirated
that's
in
the
2
risk,
days.
And honestly, a weaker, say, release, where they would have just done it, it would have been one of those that would have just come and gone, and you would have had to discover it
later.
On streaming later. So actually, theatrical releases are also a challenge,
We sat on it actually with the offers and said, no, wait, did our bit of pushing, and till the right deal came and the right believer. You need another trustworthy person to, in Amazon in our case, who really put their might behind it and thought about it. And these 4 gods here, sitting here, who really thought that the film had a lot of value. I think that's when we felt like, okay, now it's time to, this is the deal. This is the right deal.
So what I really liked about Stolen is that I had settled in to watch a very gritty, propulsive crime thriller. But the first 10 minutes you just stay in the railway station, right? And it captures the sort of mood, the rhythm of, let's say, being in a... Beautifully. You know, you move from the main platform to where the cops are and you keep cutting back and forth between... Camera is so fluid. The camera... I can't remember if it was a single take or not, but the camera work was so fluid. Abhishek, tell me about shooting that whole sequence. It sort of instantly transports you, you know, to like a late night, a random, you know, hinterland railway station right there.
They wanted to shoot the film in single shot.
Right.
That was the idea.
Right.
I don't know how they thought they will achieve that, but somehow he was very convinced. And I kept telling them that ये नहीं हो पाएगा तू जो बोल रहा है, possible नहीं है. How will we rehearse? How will we do all of that? Car chase, this, that. But then, I think the station, we were very, very sure that we have to use as limited takes as possible. And we did rehearsals for that. So I think we rehearsed 2 days. That station के take? कितना?
No.
उससे ज़्यादा?
2 days we had camera rehearsals.
Camera rehearsal for 2 days.
2 days, but we had blocking for 2 to 3
Yeah,
days.
so
we had
for
camera
5
rehearsal for 2
days we basically rehearsed the entire part.
But we only did blocking rehearsals, no acting.
No acting.
Superb.
No, no
that's
acting.
the way to do
Blocking
it, yeah.
You know,
Blocking, we just know where
But
to
they would do
move.
like 20%.
No,
acting.
even in the labor junction, in the hospital.
आज तक जिंदगी में रिहर्सल नहीं है.
This is, I think that this is the reason this film is so tight.
Correct, yeah.
Because it really
become
does
producer
feel
to all
like
of
it's
us.
You have to
happening
become
in
producer to
time.
all of us,
It's
man.
like got that
Wow, man.
What
an entry.
Right.
Might be.
What are your favorite chase films? Vikram, you have a favorite chase film, let's say, from all of cinema?
Favorite chase movies?
Yeah.
Like full movies.
Or a movie with a great chase sequence.
Oh, where is
Chase.
there? Bullet is there. French Connection is there.
Yeah.
French Connection, Bullet. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know, of course. All the bike stuff.
The backstory was amazing.
No, but the one, so the film that, I mean, in that sense, that propulsive nature of this film, there's a
Wages of Fear.
there's a German one-take film called Victoria, which
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Victoria
yeah.
is-
everybody's seen
I
it.
was like,
And it's very inspirational. You watch
Victoria
Victoria,
is
like,
unbelievable.
"Yaar, sabko,
Yeah,
we all want to
sabko,
make a
yeah.
movie like
Then
this." You know,
then we
that's
moved
fame.
to the producer of Victoria. He said, "Mat karo." He told us, "Don't do it unless if there is a real purpose for it." And they shot the film 27 days first conventionally, and then they asked for 3 days for 3 takes.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so they shot it first conventionally, and then the director negotiated that mujhe one take karni
Oh, really?
ho.
So they shot the whole film?
They shot the film.
Oh, that's wild.
Then they got
I didn't
3
know
that.
days.
Oh, yeah,
They should release both
One
cuts.
take, they planned one take, second take, third take. They took the second take and they released. That's the film now.
and the first day they told
Mistake.
us, the actors, they actually did cocaine. Some of them did it without telling the director,
Love it.
and it didn't work out. He fucking blasted the shit out of them. He like gave it off to them, and then the next day, and they did like that. They got the
very
second take, third take they did extra actually.
Yeah.
Adolescence.
There is
that,
filmmaking.
Four
They
episode.
thought कि यार real करेंगे और सही होगा.
4 episode adolescence shot in
My God.
Seven-
that was-
क्योंकि
I-
उसमें सब पे
17
करते
days.
रहते हैं ना.
Total.
Being a director
Yeah, but some of
with
them went to like
cooked out
14 takes and
actors.
stuff. They could do 2 takes a day.
Yeah, 2 takes.
Yeah, yeah. But
Which film? Which one?
Adolescence.
Yeah, yeah.
17 days. But sometimes, you know what, it is also economical to do a single take.
Yes, it is.
It is.
See, when you do a single take, you save on number days and the shooting. I think it's a lot of rehearsal. But the
But
budget
shooting
नहीं होता
is-
ना, is why you do long takes. If you see the whole emergence of art house indie cinema is
It's a
also
necessity,
because of
uh-huh.
lack of money is
see,
where it emerged from.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
strong
absolutely.
storytelling, aesthetic becomes like longer takes, single takes is because of lack of budgets.
Like those
I mean,
overhead
it's a
shots
lot
you
of
do
ads,
in
it
Black
definitely
Friday, like you've
helps,
spoken
you know.
about.
नहीं,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
simple
Yeah.
Black Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
हम लोग जी हमारे पास
Another
पैसे
great-
नहीं होते थे,
another
हम लोग
great
सिंगल
chase
टेक करते थे. हाँ?
Black-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great chase,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the running, no?
The running,
That's
yeah.
my favorite, actually.
It is because we didn't have a choice. वो होता है. It is because of that. And now that whole aesthetics has emerged.
Yeah.
People hold shots.
Right.
Now they have everything, but they still hold shot. But I think it came out from.
A
It's
need.
like everything comes out from need. Jump cuts came out from Gaurav didn't know how to cut out pauses. He didn't have alternate shots, so jump cut was invented. So everything comes out of need.
Right. Yes, there was a time you could just pick up a 5D and make films and then go to PVR directors rare and it's there for people to see. Why has filmmaking become so expensive in Hindi cinema? And why isn't that distribution ingenuity, ki let's do limited releases, let's find a campaign. Like you did you presented a film called Ship of Theseus, I remember. It slowly opened up to smaller cities. People could actually go and ask, like, show it in my city and stuff like that. Where is that sort of marketing thinking? Like, you know, you have to find ways around, right? Like when attentions are deficit, you have to find ways to get to people sometimes. I come from a small town, I would go in the morning to a multiplex because that weird indie title has somehow slipped in there, and then the show would be cancelled because 5 of us are there. So it's not like the audience is not there. There were 5 guys, but then I felt disappointed. So
पहले ना होता था हम लोग. I remember when I was a kid, and we used to hear a lot about this film called Jalwa, which never released in our city. It's never released in our city. क़यामत से क़यामत तक. By the time it reached us, was I think 5th or 6th week. पहले फिल्म्स ऐसे word of mouth पे बॉम्बे से spread होती थी, grow होती थी. And with digital, what has happened is, because digital gives you the option. Earlier, we had film takes. So, for example, I know that when we were making Black Friday, it was not supposed to be a film. It was supposed to be a series, right? So when we did, that's why it was written like that. A series. It was supposed to be the first series for Aaj Tak.
Oh wow!
First time. And then they backed out after the script was written. They were like, script was written, they backed out. So it was getting dumped. And Aditya Bhattacharya was supposed to direct it. I was just the writer. So I was like, yeah, I put in so much work. I want to, can I make it as a film? So they say, you see a film in it. I said, yeah. So it was done on a condition that we can't give you more than 300 cans because there was no money. There was no money. We had not more than 300 cans. And we had no money for people to stay, and such a big cast. Sare actors free mein. To avoid hotels, we would travel in buses in the night. So hotel nahi chahiye. 3 luxury buses traveling from town to town, and we were stupid and foolish, and which is what it is, and which I have lost, which a young filmmaker has. Today with digital, what has happened is, you keep shooting alternates. You have all the options. You shoot every option. Cost, instead of coming down, is going up.
I fully agree actually.
Because पहले था, you could not, the cans were so costly.
आठ कैन मिलता था, आपको साइन करना पड़ता था.
शॉर्ट फिल्म्स कैसे बनती थी?
यश जोर के पास जाके मतलब बैक करना.
शॉर्ट फिल्म्स बनती थी जब बाकी फिल्ममेकर्स, बड़े फिल्ममेकर्स के पास जाते थे कि कुछ कैन में बचा है तो दे दो. That's how short films were made.
48 फ्रेम लगा देते थे, मतलब you should get a
हार्ट अटैक. जैसे कैमरे का साउंड आता था 48 फ्रेम्स पे, जो आज स्लो मोशन, सब कुछ स्लो मोशन है. सब फैंटम है.
And holding your breath, watching
at
your
that
like
time,
dailies.
slow motion means 2 minutes 15
And you
seconds.
monitors, we used to watch things on the dailies and you wonder, hold your breath कि focus में आएगा कि नहीं आएगा, सब कुछ focus में है.
Have you got like your
But having said that, you can shoot films very cheap on an iPhone. I'm the same. The 5D becomes an iPhone today. And distribution is where the real
Distribution is where the problem is.
Distribution and marketing is where the
So, but what is it? What can you illustrate this to me? Like, where is it? Has it gone wrong? Where has it gone off the rails?
It's not in our hands.
Honestly, yeah, distribution is not
in our
been
hands.
decentralized. It's in everybody's hands, right? And
But one
people
problem
consume what they want.
But
Really.
but also
So to get to that person, that boy who's coming from the small town to the PVR is, how do we get to you? And like that's now become the struggle for most films. I'm a small film and I know that you will want to watch Stolen. How do I get to you? And honestly, streamers are doing that to a large extent for us. So there is now that. It's
no, but there's also I think that what's happening in the Hindi belt, right? Because if you look at the South Indian languages, the Tamil films are servicing Tamil Nadu largely, right? Kannada films and so on and so forth. Hindi films have to service an entire
North India,
the north part of the entire country, whereas you can't specifically say, yeah, I've made this film only for a specific part of saying, like, I want to make it for Bombay alone, that kind of stuff alone. That doesn't even exist anymore.
So the cost
it's too
of
expensive to,
like, if you see these pan-India films, right? So you see the pan-India, they have ceiling for promoting a film in regional language. You take any example of any pan-India film. So their regional advertising is as limited. When they say pan-India, so most of their posters are for catering for English and Hindi. So they expand their promotion based on English and Hindi. Or the English posters and Hindi posters, because it's a pan-India film. So the advertising they claim as for Hindi market.
I mean, one alternative is to do this, which is that we put a bunch of filmmakers, people who really believe in good films and want these films to be seen, get behind them. And the alternative, other alternative which I was really bullish about until a few years ago was like starting small art house cinemas in each city.
Right.
Which
We had the
You can still do
Matadin
you can still do,
here,
you can still do
which
platform
At the
distribution.
Matadin-
She was
Don't
trying
do
to get
platform
a
distribution,
place.
you're not trying it.
They were
and we
already
don't try
working on
platform
it.
distribution, I agree. I feel like that's also because of the prohibitive cost of marketing. And you know, because even if I did have to do a platform, back then when we did Ship of Theseus, there were only 2 things you could do in marketing really. And now to get that person off Instagram, I'll have to advertise on every possible channel to get to them. Whereas if I have a Matadin where I know every day there's something playing, I don't have to think about it. And there's just great programming, and that's what we wanted to do with Film Babe, that small cinema that I wanted to start, which is
You need the-
still sadly languishing and not been started. But it's, I mean, a city like Bombay, it's just
You
too
need
high
that.
cost. But
You
in other
really need.
cities, honestly, Chennai,
also
Bangalore,
the government
Goa, they
rules,
have a
man.
cinema, like a
right.
you know, ecosystem a
They
little
were
bit.
great
Yeah,
films on in Goa.
yeah.
Goa
Yeah.
is
Oddly
Cinephiles,
enough,
Sachin
Bombay
Chatte
is
runs
Sachin,
it.
exactly.
Superb it is. What we do at G5
It's a film club
is like,
every Thursday.
but we do it once a month. We do it now 4 Thursdays in a month.
Yeah.
But otherwise it's packed. I mean, we have a 106-seater theatre, and sometimes we have 200 people.
But we suburban
200 people are
also
sitting
need
on the ground and
Ground,
on
it's
the
packed.
aisles. Maniratnam comes, boom. It just
Of course, yeah, these subcultures are there, and yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's there, it's a need.
I think
I'm telling you, it's art house cinema, what she's saying, and what they're planning in Bandra.
What
is
I
really
was.
yeah.
I think
It's really the need.
But
I'm
yeah,
saying
going
you
back to your
Yeah.
point of why we chose to do it, I mean, in the sense that there was an standing offer to go theatrical and you know and possibly then go into the streaming, but the cost of getting people to come into watch, otherwise they just get lost. It went. It will be exactly like what which you
Right.
face in your hometown.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is, you go to the theater, नहीं play हो रहा है, क्यों नहीं play हो रहा है? यार बोली दो ticket खरीदा किसी ने, because
किसी
nobody
को पता
knows.
नहीं.
The cost of putting that information out, that it is there, right, is something that I think that you know, if the minute you go with a powerhouse like an Amazon, they'll put it. They'll say, okay, we'll push this like that. And still it's still early days. Let's put
Right.
it. It's still
Right.
really very early days.
Right.
And in the battle of commerce versus art, we are
I think-
trying our best.
I think I want to add something to that. I think the perspective of distribution is neither from the film, the maker's perspective, neither the consumer's perspective. It is from a perspective in the middle, for what
As a business.
enhances the middle portion. It's not serving the people, it's not serving the manufacturer. And it's interesting because if, let's say, if you release a film in Borivali, Andheri and Juhu, but you can see pay-per-view in town on the same thing, you know, why is it not allowed? Because you, as a filmmaker, I would like my film to go to the largest audience. But if, okay, in Andheri, the pay-per-view is not allowed. But today technology is enabling you. तुम चर्च गेट में YouTube पे देख सकते हो क्योंकि वहाँ हम थिएटर में नहीं लगा रहे हैं लेकिन हम अंधेरी में यहाँ लगा रहे हैं.
Dynamic way of doing
You
it, yeah.
tactic, but nobody is doing that.
Nobody's taking
It's
that
because it's not from our perspective, neither from the manufacturer's perspective, neither the consumer's perspective. It's somewhere in the middle, which is nobody's perspective.
Because broadly, studios are risk averse. Studios are generally risk averse.
Well, yeah.
The problem,
I
the
think
problem is filmmaking
I
is
think
expensive.
that's where
I mean, studios and exhibitors and
Yeah, they're
all the parts of
We
this
made
piece
better
puzzle.
films when studios were
Yeah.
not on the stock
I feel
market.
like there are so many people
Yeah.
that the filmmaker is kind of, you know, at the mercy of in some ways. That you just want to make a great film and for everyone to watch it, but it ends up being between distribution, exhibition, blah blah, so many things.
right.
Just to get to your audience is the.
Right.
I think that's
I'll-
where
yeah.
Amazon is actually
Yeah.
doing great work. I feel with
Yeah.
Stolen, I can definitely say that as a personal experience. I mean,
And they've
they are
also
doing
picked up a
phenomenal work.
lot of films from the Girls Will Be Girls,
Yep.
and things
Really
like
good
that.
films.
Now
Yep.
Stolen,
Yeah.
they're pushing.
Yeah,
they're doing some really.
Right.
Yeah, and
I'll go on a
like a
different
sidebar.
tangent for a bit. So I was watching this interview of Christopher Nolan. He said something very interesting. It's like our relationship with realism is very relative. Like, you know, what is realistic today, what looks very like, you know, realistic and you're really immersive today, 50 years down the line, you're going to find it very mannered and, you know, very filmy, you know. But like, you watch films from the black and white era, you know, they're talking, it seems exaggerated. To an audience back then, it would have seemed the most real representation. I don't know, as filmmakers, actor in general, like what is your relationship with realism and moviness of it? Because like when I was watching Stolen, like it's very realistic, but there are so many movie pleasures in it, and
That's why
they kind
they're
of
saying
go,
it's realistic, it's not real.
yeah, right, right.
I think that answers.
Yeah, correct.
It's realistic, it's not real. It seems real. So the idea is we all try to make it seem as real as possible.
But honestly, there were so many ways one could have made this film. But
Yeah.
this, for this kind of sort of vision for it, you know, this
The
craft
detailing
that
even
he
in the depth
employed was
is
perfect for
unbelievable.
this film. I think each film, I mean, I love very, very mannered films as well.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly,
they have
yeah,
a
yeah.
certain pleasure, like
Yeah.
you said. So I guess horses for courses,
Right.
you know.
Nikhil, I want to hear your thoughts on this. You've done the big canvas cinema also, and you've done the more grittier stuff, and now OTT. You work in a different register. You know, what's your relationship been with screen realism, and what it means to you? Where can you go? Where do you hold back and let the cinema sort of pour in at times?
But I don't make very realistic films. So I don't. I mean, yeah.
But the
I don't-
texture's there. Like you see a Deva, there's a texture that you're going for, right? Like Veda. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but of course I am. The thing is that when I was making Veda when we saw Stolen,
I
and I
see.
remember turning around to Sharwari, he was sitting next to me and said, "You got to shoot the whole of Veda again." so you know, so I mean, no, so I mean, I think that a lot of what is real or what is not real is depending on what your ultimate goal for that particular film is. If you're going to have to, if you're spending a lot of money and you have to give back to studio and producer, etc., then obviously very clearly you have to give into some market forces, etc. Those kind
I
of
don't know, as a
things.
thought experiment, if Satya was being made today, would there be the songs in the way that they are in that film?
मुझे तो तब भी नहीं मालूम था सॉन्ग तो बाद में
Devdi?
हाँ सत्या even then the songs came later
Right.
songs came later because it was I
Like
think
to make it more presentable, was that?
no it came because of Bharat bhai he was like यार फिल्म में गाने तो होने चाहिए marketing है you have Urmila and you don't have a song
Right.
that's why the songs came in
I see.
so otherwise earlier it was just Goli Mar Bheje mein I think
I heard a very good quote by Ramu where he says that I thought I was making realistic films and I went for a Punjabi wedding and found out that Kejo was the one who's actually making realistic cinema.
Oh!
Achha, tell me this. You had taken Kalona Ho to him, like to write. Tell
I
me
had
your
not made
side.
Karuna out of- No, I was going to do a film with
he was doing a
Shahrukh,
thriller
which was, I wanted to make a Dil Se with Shahrukh. I wanted to make a terrorism kind of film, and
Thriller.
Shahrukh and I kept talking. Shahrukh hates love stories, right?
Yeah.
He just wants
Yeah.
to constantly do that. So he and I were chatting about doing some kind of dark terrorist film, and then Karan said, "What nonsense! Kalona Ho karte." So we did that.
Did you ever have a version, or did you ever give it a thought, like when, like this
No, the
NRI
other film
romance?
we were already discussing and conversing, but then it became a love story. So I was like, let's not well, Karan, you're better at writing love stories. Why don't you do it yourself?
Bye.
उस समय ऐसा था, ऐसा ही कुछ हुआ था ना.
I see.
Oh, but उस समय वो अलग था because there was a lots of films left like that. Zoni, because I think somehow we came from different worlds, so it was a lost time for us, me also. At the same time, to get used to this industry, and because for me it was very scary. You know, when you don't feel like you belong. You don't belong to art house. You don't belong to mainstream. Where do you? Who are you? And I remember the first review that came out of Black Friday was, is it a documentary or is it a fictional film? Because, and I also can't define it. So you get confused. This was a lost time.
Right. Vikram, when I last spoke to you, said something very interesting that, when times are tough to say things, very directly, genre becomes a great tool to sort of fuse it with. I want to hear from all of you. In Veda, he uses an action film format to tell us about caste oppression. In Lapata is a comedy, and then you learn so much about the world and that part of the world. Abhishek's been in quite a few projects, like Patal Lok is the broody, investigative, procedural, but you see so... Even Stree has so much to say. Talk to me a bit about how genre is a very powerful tool to sort of not just teach people, but to sort of, because you are engaged, right? When you're engaged, you are more open to instead of being lectured. When you're engaged in something, learn and you seep in. Anurag, Nikkhil, talk to me about this film. Yeah.
यार मैं बहुत बात कर चुका हूँ
Let him talk.
Yeah, Karan.
Let him talk.
I mean, like we were talking earlier, that we want our films to get to the widest audience, and I think that I hate boring movies personally.
Same here.
The one thing that I dislike is boring movies. Slow, fast, all that doesn't matter to me actually at all. But I hate boring movies. So I think if I dislike, I mean, I did not want to make a boring movie, So the film had to be exciting. If I want the idea that I'm so personally passionate about to get to the maximum number of people, then why should I not try to make it accessible? So the film is, I would say, accessible, and accessibility in this film is engagement. So it sort of drives from that sort of a thing. I mean, I'm not thinking that I want to make it, I mean, I like genre, so again, that's a personal thing. I love Korean films, I love South American films. I'm inspired by how cleverly they are able to fuse genre with very interesting, serious stories at times, So I think it's like, for me, it's very personal. I see the impact of that on people, so I see, yes, it works. There's an example right in front of my eyes. So, I mean, that's how I at least look at doing. Why would I want to continue to work in genre, whether it could be horror or, I mean, even comedy. I mean, I would love to do a comedy someday, maybe the right one, because it's so amazing. You can just say anything. I mean, and we know as from example as well, it's tough to do, but whatever. I mean, yeah.
Right.
So that's how at least I look at it, personally, from when I look at telling a film that should be genre or drama. Stolen could be drama.
Right.
I mean, drama is definitely the most universal also, probably at some level, more than genre. But I have a personal taste in genre.
The genre films are the best. Genre books are the best.
Yeah, they're fun. I mean, exactly.
Genre
Books are
is
the best.
also art. I think it's
Yeah,
it's that
yeah.
perfect mixture of it being like propulsive, interesting, fun cinema, but it's also art, it's also political, it's also all the things that you want it to be.
Genre is very political.
Yeah, like I just rewatched all of MI because the new MI was out. I realized there's so much the series says, about AI, about world domination, about it's also very cynical about the state, which in India our sort of spy films are very like about the state and we can't do wrong and stuff. They're always going rogue, right? It just tells you so much of how Americans view authority.
But all your greatest, like your greatest genre, I mean, Die Hard is actually is so much fun, but also it tells you a lot about the current state of politics in the US at that point in time, and they do it so easily and it's so like slid in and slid out that you're like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that. It's only on kind of second. Again, greatest movies. Terminator 2. It's like
Bond,
greatest
the Bond
action.
series.
The Bond
The Bond series is so
also.
kick-ass.
And the Bond, yeah.
All of them.
All of them, yeah. No, the genre is...
No, and honestly, I think that's the way to go.
I mean, there
looking
are-
to the future. I
Yeah.
think that for theatrical or for streaming or for anything, I think that solid genre stuff is really the way to go.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. All the best for Stolen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shilajit.